I start, I'm on the SV, the scout vehicle here, right? I just want to get a couple of last minute preps for my pandemic supplies. Alright, so I'm going to head down to the drugstore right now. Get a couple of things that I'm missing. So I figure I'd take you guys for a nice little ride. It's a beautiful day out. And we're on the bug out vehicle, the 750 Honda Super Sport. The animal, the beast. Alright, so basically there's a Rite Aid over here, and there's a Walgreens down further that has a parking lot. That's right ahead of you is the Verrazano Bridge, right up over here. Here's Walgreens, it's pulling over here. Okay, I guess I'll keep it rolling when I go in. Okay. There's a couple of things I'm looking for. Not much. There we go. I just wanted to get a couple of extra ones of these face masks. Flu shot posters. Fresh flowers, flu shot. Walk in anytime. Get your fresh flowers and a flu shot. Why not? Pump yourself full of monkey piss. Okay, this is a little off topic. This is for you, Fubar. This is the area where John Travolta was walking down the street where he made that video. This is exactly where he was. I'll give you a little walk, alright? Here we go. That's for you, Fubi. That's 86th Street. That's where he was. And right here is Lenny's Pizzeria. This is the pizza from Saturday Night Fever, where he stopped and got a slice of pizza. It was Lenny's right here. And I'm gonna go in and get a slice of pizza. That's Brooklyn pizza. I don't know what kind of pizza you got down south, but that's Brooklyn pizza, right? There he is. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the ride. It was a fun ride, a beautiful day. But let's get down to business. Let's talk about this pandemic prepping, which the other day I was thinking about it, and this is why I decided to make this video. I was thinking about it, and I fall short on a pandemic prep, and I'll explain to you why. It's not the lack of aspirins and prep stuff and alcohol and all that. It was a little bit of the lack of knowledge that I had towards what do I do when a pandemic happens, right? And let's go into the Batcave and let's do some talking. All right, so I'll see you in a second. It was a beautiful ride. Thanks for coming along. The Batcave, all right? Like I said before, I was thinking about pandemic, right? And I was saying to myself, I was trying to think about what kind of disasters most likely are going to happen, right? You think about solar flare, you're thinking about EMP, economical collapse is very possible, but really what's really high up there is a pandemic. Because if you think about it, it has happened before in our history, not once or twice, probably many a times, probably before we even started recording events, right? So what came to my mind was, during a pandemic, I know how I'm going to react, and I hope you guys out there react the same way. It's like, as soon as I see there's some kind of crazy flu or pandemic going around, right, I'm going home and I'm batting down the hatches. So I'm either going to stay in my house in New York and see what happens, or I'm going to go up to my bug out location. Most likely I'm going to go out to my bug out location, right? But what's coming through my mind was, you got loved ones, you got family, you got friends and everything else, and what happens when you get, during this pandemic, you're all batting down in your house, and then you got your a family member show up with their family, right? Honestly, you just can't let them in your house. You don't know if they're sick. You don't know where they've been, if they've been exposed to anybody else, right? And you're not going to turn them away, right? Unless you really have to. If somebody is sick, that's a hard decision to make. If there's somebody in that group and their family members or very close friends, it's going to be a hard decision to make, right? Do you let them in the house or not, right? Especially if it's a bad pandemic, if it's one of those really crazy ones, You look at the typical flu. The typical flu affects about maybe 200,000 people in the United States every year. Out of the 200,000, I think the numbers are, I don't know, don't quote me on this, but I think I'm correct on this. About 35,000 people die of just the normal flu, right? 35,000, you think about the population of the United States, it's really a drop in the bucket. And most of those people that do die, right, are either the elderly or people with compromised immune systems, right, or people who are just generally not well, right? Unfortunately, their body can't fight even a normal flu, right? So that's what it's like during a normal flu season. Now, if you just picture something really foreign and really funky, no matter what you believe, maybe it's a weapon grade flu that's coming around, or just Mother Nature trying to push out some of the herd, whatever you believe in, it doesn't matter. When something bad like that happens, you're going to know how to react, and you're going to know how to cope with other people, right? Your first order of business, I would say, is you want to stay far away from everybody. You don't want to be going to the stores. You don't want to be around anybody. You don't want to go to the movies or a ball game either, right? But you will have people show up at your house, right? And then I was saying to myself, if somebody shows up in my house, what am I going to do with them, right? This is all my personal opinions and what I would do, right? First of all, when they come to my house, the first question they ask, is anybody sick, right? And if they say no, then you're going to have somewhere to put them. See, that's where I came up with this idea of having your pandemic safe room, your quarantine room. But there's a few things you're going to have to know about the quarantine room, all right? And I really didn't know about it too much, so I started doing my little bit of homework and started using my own little brain to figure out how I would do this, how I would cope with a family coming to my house,
right? And the first order of business you got to do, right, is basically tell them to wait and take their temperature, right? Now, if somebody in their group has a fever already, right, you're going to have to come to the decision whether you're going to even let them into your quarantine room, or you're just going to tell them you're better off going back home, right? In my opinion, that's what I would have to do. I would say, I'm sorry, you know, it's my family. I can't, somebody's already sick, right? And it would be a hard decision to make. And I just really, it's such a thing I don't even like thinking about, right? But these being a prepper and everything, you've got to deal with these harsh realities, what can happen, right? My game plan, if somebody is sick in that group, I would just tell them, all right, go back home. I would give them a nice Tupperware of food and water and supplies, put it in the car, send them on their way, and let them wait it out in their own house, right? Now, if everybody checks out and nobody has a fever, right, you still got to be cautious, because the reason why, it could take up to anywhere from 48 hours to 10 days before that flu comes out, right? So you really, you know, you got a family member that came over, or you got a close friend, and these people are going to be with you. You need people, like I always say, so you don't going to send everybody away, but if somebody's sick, it's unfortunate. It's just the nature of the beast. You know, it's heartbreaking and everything, but if they all check out at the door, there's nobody has a fever, then you're going to move to the next step, and you're going to quarantine them in a room or a space that you have available in your house. And what you have to do, you have to be prepared for this time. So what I did, I went through the trouble, right, to show you how I would set up a room to quarantine somebody. All right, so there's a couple of essential things you're gonna need, right? First of all, what I did here, my pandemic box. All right, that's a pandemic box right here, right? So it's not. You gotta understand one thing, right? You prepping already. You've been prepping already, so you have your food, your water, and everything. To prep for a pandemic and to make a quarantine room is really simple, and it doesn't take much to have. All right. So what you got here, what I just put away in this one little Tupperware, right, is a spray bottle, right? Because this is a good thing to have. Because what you're going to do is you're going to put a mixture of bleach and water, and you can spray all your surfaces around your house down, and make sure your house is really germ-free, right, to wait out this pandemic. Because with a flu, eventually it's going to fizzle out. You know, unfortunately, it'll probably take a lot of people with it, right? So with bleach, and the rule of thumb for sterilization on hard surfaces and stuff is 1 cup of bleach to 5 gallons of water, and it will make a nice, good little thing to sterilize stuff. So this goes in there, so I know I have it, right? You know, and this is all the stuff I'm going to use for the quarantine room. Now I got paper towels, of course. I got some Clorox, not Clorox. The hell is this stuff called again? Peroxide. You got peroxide, of course, some alcohol, right? I got some hand sterilizer in there, right? Very important, because when people come to your house and they come to your door, you want to have your masks and your gloves ready, because you don't want to greet anybody, right? And you should really have some eye protection on too, because if the flu is not airborne, once a flu or pandemic goes airborne, man, all bets are off. Then it's the survival of the fittest. But a normal flu, somebody could be talking to you and a piece of saliva could wind up hitting you in the eye. So you want to try to get some kind of eye protection on also. But gloves and this, anybody you greet at your door. All right, so you got your gloves, you got your masks, right? I got a funnel, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to be using that for, right? Carbon monoxide smoke detector, battery operated, because the quarantine room I would make, right, is going to have a heating system in it, and that's going to be heated by a Yukon stove, right? Because if it's the winter, you're going to have a way to heat this room for people to stay in there, and you want to be safe about it. You don't want carbon monoxide killing everybody. The flu don't kill you, carbon monoxide kills you. How stupid is that? All right, I got that in there. Got a staple gun. I got staples and duct tape and more duct tape, right? And here is this is a plastic covering. All right, so this plastic covering is 3.5 mil. All right, that's the thickness of the plastic. And what I'll be doing with this plastic once I make a pandemic room, one of the rooms in my house, right? Especially if you live in an apartment, you live in the city, you got to make this a room, a little quarantine quarters. What you want to do, you want to put plastic over the doors. All right, over the door frame, you're going to put. I would put 3 sheets, but you could get away with 2. You put a sheet, and you make sure you staple it around the doorway, right? And it opens this way. You leave a flap open. You want to put some tape where you can tape it closed, right? Then you take another sheet and you make it flat this way. So you get the idea, all right? So your first sheet would open up this way. Your second sheet is going to open up this way, right? With it all stapled around, right? And that's what you're going to be using the plastic for. So remember, this is a 3.5 mil, right? It's a thick plastic. You don't want to buy the cheesy thin plastic. All right, that's the stuff I got in there to get me ready. And the most important thing, a thermometer. All right, because what you want to do when people come to your house, you want to take their temperature before you let them in. You know, anything over 98.5 or whatever it is, you want to start. All right, you got a low-grade fever, something might be happening there, right? And plus, you can monitor them as the people are in the quarantine room. Every day, you take everybody's temperature, you monitor them, and making sure they're doing all right. All right, so let me show you some of the stuff that you're going to put in a quarantine room to make it more comfortable. While I get this stuff together, let's switch to my bug out house. I'm going to show this little shed I have there, which I was thinking about making into a quarantine room up in the mountains. All right, guys, I'm up at my bug out location. All right, this is a little, it's like they call it an office, was connected to the barn here, right? The barn is really in disarray, needs a lot of work. But this one little office over here that's connected to the barn is in pretty decent shape, all right? When I started thinking about the pandemic stuff, right, and I knew I fall short on my pandemic preps, right? And I really started thinking about this more, and then this popped into my mind in this little place, all right? So when I got here, right, is it's like a small little room, right, connected to the barn, right? It has a little loft on top up there where you could put a couple of sleeping bags and some air mattresses and nice little sleeping quarters, right? I'm gonna put over here is my the wood stove is gonna go in here, right? And I'm gonna fix this place up. I'm gonna insulate it. I'm gonna put plywood on the walls. I'm gonna insulate the ceiling, you know, put plywood, put a new floor down. The roof does have a couple of leaks in it, and it's not a big area, so I'm gonna put a new roof on it. And what else I'm going to put on the roof is I just ordered a small little solar set from Costco's. It's one of those small solar panel kits, right? I'm going to buy a couple of batteries for it and be able to supply this little area with some electricity for a couple of light bulbs and maybe some, you could have a radio going or whatever, you know, just to make it a little bit more comfortable. But once I'm done, I think I'm going to make this place pretty cozy, right? It'd be a nice little holding pen during the pandemic, right? You know, say if I got up here with my family already, and you know, and then you get friends and family that just took their sweet time. Oh, it might get better. It might get better. We're gonna hang out here for a while. But then if it doesn't get better, you're gonna have people showing up at your bug out location that you are on the late side. Right, so now you're up here already. You're not in the big city, and you're keeping your family safe. And all of a sudden, you get these people showing up, friends and family. All right, we're here. You know, we want to come in now.
you can't just let them into your house, you know, because you don't know if any one of them are sick, right? Now, if one of them are sick and you let them into the house, that could be the death of your whole family. It could be the death of everybody, right? So what you're going to do, if you have a bug out location and you have an extra room like this, or even a barn, you can even make a section of a barn into a nice sleeping quarters, right? You're going to put them in here. Once this place is fixed up, it's going to be really comfortable. It's going to have heat. It's going to have electricity. I'm making a water system outside with 55-gallon drums that's going to get rain runoff, and you'll be able to at least to have some water in here too, right? I got an outhouse not too far down the path here, so you also they have an outhouse to go to. Hey, it's old-fashioned, but what are you going to do? An emergency situation, and when you got to go, you got to go. You don't care where you go, right? So, but once I get it done, it's going to be pretty sweet in here. So you're going to have your little sleeping quarters, maybe a little table, and make it as comfortable as you can for somebody, right? So during a pandemic, is what you want to do is you want to put them in here, right, for at least 5 to 7 days to make sure nobody's sick until you start inviting them into your home. All right, so it's a nice little, it's good practice. All right, you don't just want to, when people show up at your house, you just don't want to open your door right away. You got to be safe, especially when it comes to like a pandemic. It's the worst thing in the world, right? All right, so guys, that's what I have here, and it's going to take some work, and I'm going to keep you updated as I do this, you know. Just got to get a little funds together to put the new floor down, the new roof, and I'll show you as it's coming along. All right, guys, and yeah, and hey, it's not only good for just a pandemic. Once I get this place fixed up, no one else it's good for. I can invite another family up here during a shit hits the fan situation. You know, I can offer another living quarters to a family to help them out, and at the same time, by having another family here, they're able to help you out too. Like I always said, when it comes down to these bad situations or survival within itself, the more the merrier. You want to have a lot of people with you. That's the only way you're going to survive. Think you're going to go up to your bug out location and be John Wayne and survive by yourself? I got another thing coming to you. You're not going to make it, right? It might not even be people attacking your house. It might be you as a father and a husband, you break both your legs in an accident. Who's going to take care of your family? Who's going to go out there and hunt? Who's going to go out there and fish? Who's going to go out there and get wood? Your wife and your kids? No. You need people. That's the main thing. So this thing is even is a plus for me when I get it fixed up, because it'd be a good place to hold people during a pandemic, and plus it's a good place to offer somebody, you know, hey, if things go bad, you know, I got a little place you could stay up on my property, no problem. You come there, we work together, right? You always got to have friends, and just, you know, just try to find like-minded people, even if they're not like-minded. The people that you invite up don't have to be preppers. You know, you might invite a family that they never hunted or fished or even been in the mountains their whole life, right? But it's not a hard thing to teach somebody to chop wood. It's not a hard thing to teach somebody how to get water. It's not a hard thing to teach somebody how to shoot a rifle and defend themselves, or even go hunting. I could teach somebody to defend themselves with a rifle in 2 days or even a day. It's not a hard thing. It's not rocket scientist. All right? So here you go. This is the little area I want to share with you, and I'll give you updates as I'm getting done with it, and I'll see you back in the city. This is the little stove that I'm going to be putting into that other quarters I'm making. You know, so, you know, it's nice. It's cast iron. All right? It's nice. Get a nice little flame in there. Give it plenty of heat. Look at this. There's a saw in here. Yikes! Hey, you never know. You might need a saw as you're cooking. Who knows? Anyway, but this is the shed I got. I mean, the shed. The little oven I got here. That's going to go into that little extra quarters, you know, where people could, like I said, during the pandemic, it definitely is more than enough heat for that little room. Look, I got spider webs on me. Yikes. Alright, guys. Yuck. There we go. So that's the thing I'm going to just put in there. It's not a real big one, but the thing is heavy as a son of a bitch, because I don't know how I'm going to get it in there. I got to get a couple of guys to come help me put it in there. All right. So that's the wood stove. Plenty of heat. You can cook on it and whatever you want to do with it, you know. This is really important during a pandemic situation is hubcaps. See these things? You could take these things off and you could turn them upside down and cook soup in them. Nah, I'm only joking with you.
Okay, yeah, so that's the little place I'm gonna have up in my my bug out location if a pandemic ever happened. Before I let them into my main house, I'm gonna be fixing that whole place up. It's gonna be pretty sweet. It's gonna be a nice little setup. But a lot of you people don't have second locations or bug out places, right? Another good place you could set up as a quarantine place would be a garage, especially when you got a garage not attached to the house, right? And you could use a garage, like right here. This is my garage. I think in the city, if a pandemic happens and I can't get out of the city right away, right, and I get family members coming here, they're gonna be quarantined to this place. It doesn't take much to pipe in the Yukon stove, right, and other stuff. I'm going to show you what to do. All right, so like I said, your little bin, you got some plastic, you got your mask, you got your masks, you got your gloves, carbon monoxide, right, tape around. You can staple the plastic around the doorway, or you could use masking tape. But I like to staple it, and then I'll use duct tape around it to really seal it. All right, so you want to seal that doorway with plastic, right? And another important thing you're going to have to do once you get that doorway sealed up, this is basically you're going to have to do this if you're going to let people into a house and you've got one room in your house set aside for a quarantine room, right? You're going to want to put plastic on the door and make sure that door closes on the inside, right? And another important thing you want to do is once that room has the plastic on it, you want to put a window fan inside that room, all right? So the reason why you're going to put a window fan inside that room, right, something like this. Let me move this out of the way. All right? Here's your window fan. And what you're going to do is you're going to put this window fan in your window and let it blow out. And by the wind the wind exhausting out of the room is going to cause a negative pressure inside that room, right? So in other words, when you put this in the window, you turn it on and you make a negative pressure, it's going to be sucking air from your house into that room and outside. You don't want air blowing into that room because it's going to be a positive pressure and it will push the air into your house. And pushing that air is germs also, right? Especially if it starts to get funky or airborne. You don't want to have a positive pressure. You want to have a negative pressure in that room. So you're going to put a window fan inside the window and let it exhaust outward, which causes a negative pressure, right? And then you might say, well, it's a bad pandemic and everything. Say if the power goes off and all that, right? You want to have little battery packs, right? The best thing to do is, I just bought one. I'm still waiting for it. I got to call Costco. I bought one of those little solar panel kits, and I'm going to be putting that on my roof over here, and just to give me a little electricity to run the essentials, you know? But right now, this is a 110 window fan, and this is one of those car chargers, right? I could charge this thing up from my car if need to be. But if I plug it in here, right, that's the light. That gives you, that's air compressor. See how the fan goes on. I got it set on a low RPM right now because to make a negative pressure in a room, you don't need a really strong fan. You just need enough to exhaust out, and it would start pulling air out of the room and out of the house, right? Do you get what I'm saying about that? Do I have to say negative pressure again? I hate saying that word for some reason. It bothers me. Alright? But that's it. So if the power goes off, I can always use one of these things or run it off a little solar panel kit. Or you could buy a 12-volt window fan. They sell 12-volt window fans where you could put chargeable batteries in there and just have that going. But this thing seems to work pretty good. I don't know how long it will last, but I think it will last a pretty long time. And then I always can recharge it from the car. Alright? But I'm getting the solar panels to be on the safe side. Alright, let me pull this thing out. Alright, so you get the idea with that? Negative pressure, All right, so get yourself a little power supply, a little maybe some solar panels, a little solar panel kit. You can get them from Harbor Freight, right? You don't need a big thing. You don't need, if you're not, you know, I'm not going to be doing my whole house off the grid. I just want, so if the lights go out, I can just run some important things like a fan, or charge my power tools, or charge my radios. All right, so there you go. You got your plastic on your door. You got your negative pressure going on. Negative pressure, negative. Ah! All right, you got your negative pressure going on, right? And now, what you're gonna have to worry about is if it's the winter, you want to heat. All right, so you all know what this is, right? You all seen this before. This is the Yukon. Excuse me for a minute. Let's keep that out. Let's see if I can get this on top of here so you can see it better. All right. This is the Yukon stove, right? You can heat a whole room up with this. All you're gonna have to do is pipe it out the window. And it's easy to do. You buy some extra piping and attachments and you pipe it right out. And if you look at my other City Survival video, I inform you to go look at Yankee's video, but it's not up anymore. So just figure out a way to pipe it out your window. These stoves are great. And now you can keep that quarantine room heated, right? So, and the surface gets really hot and they could boil some tea or some water, whatever they want to do, right? So there you go. So make sure you invest in one of these things. It's a smart investment. I got another one coming soon. I just got to get the fund together. It's only $150. I'm buying another one so I can have two. All right, guys. So that's the Yukon stove. Don't forget heat. All right. All right. Now we have to move on. Now what I got here, like I said, if all the power goes out, right, you want the people in the quarantine room to have a little bit of power, right, a little bit of light. So these are lawn lights, which are pretty, they're pretty bright, you know, if you can see them, they're pretty bright. Okay, they could use these inside the room to read or whatever they have to do, and then during the day you can always put them back outside in the sun. Let them charge up, and boom, you got some little alternative lighting for the people inside the room so they could be a little bit more comfortable. And another thing you want to put in the room, right, especially if you got solar panels and you got ways to charge batteries, is you want to put a little portable DVD player. You see those little portable DVD players? I got two of them. My kids got them. And a bunch of movies, because you're going to have these people. Once you quarantine people, they're going to be quarantined. Me, personally, I'm going to quarantine people for at least a week. You know, they would have to stay in that room for at least a week, and once they're all better, they can come out, and then we all can have a big party and drink and eat and everything else together, right? But my rule of thumb is at least a week. To be on the really safe side would be 10 days, right? But I think a week should be good enough. And I know I'm going to get some comments saying, well, somebody could be a carrier. You know, somebody in the group could be a carrier. You know what? And if that's the way I have to go, that's the way I have to go. You know, I can't turn everybody down. If somebody comes to my house and they're sick, it's bad enough you're turning those sick people down. You can't start turning the well people down too. And whatever happens, happens. You give it your best shot. All right? Okay, now let me show you another little thing here. What I made for $4. Check this out. This is pretty good. It's amazing how I could talk so much. All right. So what I did here, all right. Let me show you what I got going on here. What I did, right. I got a couple of 5-gallon buckets for free. They were old. They used to have salt in it, right. Instead of throwing them away, I always save 5-gallon buckets because they're always good for something. And what I did, I put a spigot on it with a valve. You know, if you can see that, spigot with a valve, right. On the inside. I screwed it on the inside, I drilled a hole, and I put a little gasket in there, right? And what this does, now in your quarantine room, you can fill this up with water, right? You got this filled up with water, and now what I did with another bucket, right? I kept the lid, right? Let me show you. and I found an old little basin, whatever you want to call it, piece of Tupperware, right? And I screwed it to the bottom, right? And made a hole. There you go. There you go. I screwed a hole through it, okay? And I just bolted it down so it's flush in there. And I made it like a little sink. So here you go. You got a little sink. And that will go on top of here with the cover with seals down. Like that. There you go. Get this out of the way. And that goes right underneath here. And there you go. You got a little sink. Look at that. You could turn the water on. They could wash their hands and face a little bit, right? Just to have a little comfort in that room, because you don't want them coming out, washing up and everything. You're going to get filled up with water. And when this water gets filled up, then you could always come to the room and drain it for them. Throw it right down the toilet bowl and let it flush something out. But there you go, $4, right? And it wasn't it wasn't hard to make. Look, if you think about it, it's 2 buckets. Put a little valve, a little spigot on it, right? And that's your holding tank. And there's your little sink pot. And this is going to catch all the dirty water, right? Right in here. You go there. Hopefully you can see it good. Let me see. Yeah, you can see it pretty good. All right. And if somebody wants me to, I'll make a quick video. It took me like 10 seconds to make this, right? How to make it. It's real, like I said, it's real simple. You just drill a hole in a bucket, make yourself a little spigot with a valve on it, and you find a little basin, attach it to the yellow lid, and there's your wastewater. And there you go. You can have like a little emergency sink area in the quarantine room. All right, so there's your sink. Now you got your sink. Your sink is all set up good. Jesus, I get sick of hearing myself. All right, so here we go. So I got this, and I got this. And very important, you have to have an axe and some gasoline. I tell you why you gotta have an axe and gasoline. Say if it's a really, really bad flu, and when the people die, they turn into zombies. So you're gonna have to knock them in the head, and then you gotta dispose of their body correctly. You never know. These pandemics could turn into a zombie apocalypse. All right, so remember, axe and gasoline, burn the body, chop the head off. I don't know. Who knows? If it's gonna be a zombie apocalypse. Well, it's fun to think about. All right, so here we go. Now we got the poop. All right. Let me move over. See here? This is one of those little. Let me see if you can see it good. If I don't gotta move the camera. Yeah, I guess I'll put it up here. All right. These are one of those little portable bowls, you know, for sick people when they have to go to the bathroom. Actually, I stole this from OBX's house because you know that old bastard. Half the time he can't make it to the bathroom, so he had to use one of these. I'm sorry, OXB, I stole it. All right? So there you go. You got a little place where somebody has to go number 2. All right? So what you're going to do with this, right, is you're going to line it. You're going to have some plastic liners, like garbage liners, right? Hold on a second. All right, guys, I have plastic liners. I left them upstairs, and I'm not going upstairs to get them, but I'm going to just show you. You know, I shouldn't have to show you this, but I'm just want to give you an idea. Once you get a plastic liner in these, right, even if you're just making one, you can put a toilet seat on top of a 5-gallon bucket drum also, right? So anyway, after the person does their business, right, the proper way to dispose of it, right, you're going to grab it out. Right, so you get a bag. That's why you want to use, like, don't just get small bags. Get a little bit oversized. You're going to grab the feces, right? And you're going to twist the bag like this, right? You twist the bag. Then you're going to take this part, go over it again. Then you twist this part, right? And then you could just dispose it into a another plastic bag. So that's what you want to do. And the smart thing to do is that you put a little duct tape or a little tape, and you would take the tape and give it a once around and dispose of it. All right. So that's how you really keep the area clean. So like I said, that's called, you're basically double bagging it, right? By just taking it out and you're twisting that end, right? And then you take this part, fold it over to twist, right? And then you're going to twist it again. And if you want, you can just throw a little tape around it. And then you put it in a nice little waste paper basket. All right? So that's where you're going. So it's a smart idea. You don't necessarily have to get one of these things, right? But I was able to steal it from OHB, right? So, but, oh, I can even use this as a chair. I am the king of my castle. All right, there you go. All right, so there you go. You got the little, the Hershey throne. All right, so now let's have the funnel. All right, you said, why do you have a funnel? You pulled the funnel out of that box. Let me tell you why I have a funnel. All right, see the water keg, right? Now this is where you're going to put this on here, right? And it's simple. You take a little bit of your trusty duct tape. Let me show. I'll rig it up. I'm going to show you something special. Now you take your duct tape. You go around the bucket like this. You know, I'm doing it fast, but you want to do it neater, right? There you go. See here? It's got a funnel, right? And this is where, you know, you want to rinse this out, right? So in other words, let me try to say this the right way. Okay, the funnel is your urinal. Here you go. You got your urinal, right? The reason why I put a funnel on it, because I guess it's for the women. You know, they can, you know, do whatever women do over it, right? But there's your urinal. So you got your urinal, right? And what you're gonna do is just have a little extra water on hand, maybe a cup, and after anybody urinates in here, you know, we gotta try to keep sterile. We don't want to smell piss, right? You take a little water, splash it in there, let a little water go in there, and what you're gonna do, right? You're gonna make yourself, out of napkins or anything, you can make yourself a plug, and you're gonna plug that inside the urinal. All right, because you don't want that smell of urine coming out, especially if you got urine in there sitting there for about a week. Right, so you want to just be able to pull the plug out, do your business, splash some water, let it go down, then plug it back up again. All right, so you got your urinal, right? You want to put a funnel on it because women need more surface space to urinate. Men can aim, but women need the surface space. So there you go. You got your urinal, you got your poop shack, you got your portable sink, right? So these are the things you're going to need just to make a little pandemic room, right? It doesn't take much. Like I showed you all these little things, and that's what's going to keep your family safe. You know, it's going to just, so when you get a new, all right, guys, I'm sorry. I had to make a quick phone call. All right, I'm like a motor mouth tonight. I'm like, all right, so, I don't know, leave me a couple of comments and what you think, but this is my idea how to, like, try to keep your family safe from the pandemic, you know. Like I said, you got people coming over, you want to check them out first, right, and make sure they're not sick before you let them in your quarantine room, right? Because it doesn't make sense to let people into who are already sick into your house. You're just asking for trouble. That's my opinion. I know it's going to be a hard call, but to me, if people are sick already, they're better off waiting it out at their place. You give them some food, you give them some provisions. You know, maybe you could even go check in on them once in a while, here and there, but make sure you always have a mask and gloves when you're going anywhere outside during the pandemic. So, I don't know. I don't hear too many people talking about pandemics. I hear a lot of people talking about solar flares and EMPs and zombies and economical collapse, right? Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, UFOs, right? We all forget about the pandemic, which is more likely to happen than all the above. All right, so guys, so I don't know if my way is the best way, and I hope you got the sense of how to quarantine a room off, right? Especially if you're going to have that room in your house itself. You want to put that plastic up, like I said, in two sheets, right? You put your first sheet up, staple it all around like this way, and halfway down, where you can have a fold to get in. Then you're going to put another sheet up. You're going to staple it around the other way and staple it down and have a fold to get in. So you're going to have two layers, like a two barrier. So one folds this way out, the other one folds the other way out. Okay, so, and remember, negative pressure inside your room. All right, you got urinals, you got your poo-poo, you got your sink, you got some power, right? Did you notice that in my pandemic preparedness, I don't have any kind of medicines, right? Because I believe if it's a really bad pandemic, you can have all the Theraflu or Tamiflu or aspirins you want. It's not going to help you, right? So I'm not going to stress too much on meds. You know, I have some meds for my family. I have provisions set aside for my family, but I can't stockpile a whole bunch of meds for people coming to my house sick. You know, the only way you're going to get into my house is if you're well, okay? And that's why I always tell everybody, when you got friends and family and you're going to be planning, you got to make sure they see the big picture, right? They got to see the big picture and say, you'd be more than glad to take people in, but come at the appropriate time. Don't sit around your house, right? This is going out to the people that are not prepping, that are going to lean on preppers. Don't sit around your house and think, I still got to go to work. There's a pandemic out, but I have to go to work. You know, hey, I had tickets for that football game. I'm still going to go to that football game, or I'm going to go see a movie tomorrow. I like that movie that came out, knowing that there's some kind of crazy pandemic going around. Because I know with the swine flu, when that was going around, people were still going to movies and baseball games and everything. It turned out to be nothing, which I knew it was going to be nothing. But say if it wasn't nothing, these people still went to these crowded areas, right? So in other words, I say to the people that are not prepping out there, and you're going to be leaning on a prepper's shoulder, right? Don't be an idiot about it, right? Make sure if something's happening, listen to the prepper that's your friend, right? Because he's going to probably lock his door if you don't listen to him. So remember, you know, you got to jump into action right away. It doesn't hurt to take a few sick days off of work or use a couple of vacation days, right? Your job is going to be there. It's not going to blow up because you're not there. Just to sit and wait to see how this thing pans out, all right? That's it. Hey, my no smoking is going great. I finally got part 5 of my City Survival series out, and I feel good. You know, I think SoCal said too, you get all this renewed energy once you stop smoking, and you know, I feel good. I'm really enjoying it. You know, it's not the easiest thing in the world. I get a little buggy and everything, but I'm a nervous freak as it is, and like this is even making me more crazy. But I have fun. I like feeling alive, like a human being was supposed to feel like that. All right, guys, live for today, prep for tomorrow, and I'll see you guys next time with part 6. I don't know what it's going to be about. I have to think of something. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Caterpillar. I think these are called woolly bears, right? And I got this other caterpillar over here. I don't know what the hell that one is, but it looks like a Brooklyn alley cat. Look at him. Ooh. Whoa, calm. Look at him. That's a woolly bear. Can somebody tell me what they grow into, or whatever they do? They manifest into a moth or a butterfly. I don't know. All right. Has nothing to do with prepping, but I'm just curious.